another one while it's still hot. Do the same thing, get it where it barely fits into the hardy hole. Latch it on the edges. Yeah, that wasn't a very good one, but it's there good enough. Alright, now I'm going to use a set. Reduce the surface area by hitting the diagonals. And look, watch the surface area. It gets bigger every time I hit this facet. So I have them go over there, and I'll hit half on, half off right there. You see the hit. Always see that. Yeah, have them come back over here. And now it's smaller here. And I will have to follow this down a little bit more, so go down there. And this was bigger than the other one, so same thing. Come back over here. That fix that little twist we had down there too. A little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and take the diagonals in the hair. Sides, it hits all four sides. That's good. Now I'll cut it, but this one I'll cut longer for the bigger fuller. I'll use twice as much as it is wide. I'm going to go ahead and mark this one by hand about twice as it is. And I'll show you how to cut with a striker. Like I said, you don't want to cut these type of tools, a fuller, or your hammer billets, or top tool billets, top and bottom. So, the anvil itself, yeah, this is that soft stuff. A little bit hard edge, can you tell, for cutting? You know, you develop a cut. It's like punching a hole. You don't want to try and cut with one hit. I know it. You can tell you're going too far too fast. Slow it, tone it down. But yeah, you wouldn't want to cut that much through. You want to try to cut to the center and try not to cut all the way off, because you can hit your anvil, your tool. Now, I wouldn't do it on this one, but you could cut over the edge of an anvil. But this one would slam this into the anvil, just like slamming it here. So just cut where you can break it off. Alright, I'm going to cool this off. You don't do this with a striker. I'm going to cool a good bit off, about half of it off. Pretty good. I want to set the shoulder of the hardy stem. So I put it in. Watch it. Don't hit too many times. Then I hit fast. That's it. The shadow. You do not want to hit that when there's shadow down there. It will cause it to bulge up here. We want the flat of the shoulder to start to develop right there. Okay, so I'll do it again. I'll pull a little bit less off, and you don't do this with a two strikers. You don't want to hit that many times. That's the biggest flaw that people do when making this. They'll make this flat all at once up here, and then once it's flat, then it flares. And then once it flares, you can't get that out without, if you hit it here, then it hollows. So you don't want to fight hollows. Dangle. These tongs are better for dangling than, and yeah, move around a little bit. Just don't pull off as much. Then if you had a bolt tong, you have to hold the bolt tong straight. So lay it on your anvil. With your tongs. That does help to upset that a little bit. Especially when it's darker, you can see like scale pop and stuff like that when you're doing that. But you don't want to hit the top. So you can see it's a lot more. I'll do this one more time, pull off less, and get more of the shoulder. So pull a lot less off, just the top. Shake it around. Lay it on my anvil. Pick it up with my pickup. Get rid of them. Okay, that's, you see the flare. Anyway, this will help release too. One other thing that I didn't mention, if you keep driving a tool like this into a hole, just like heading a nail, when that gets, the contact with the anvil, of course, it tries to seek equilibrium, so it darkens up. If you keep driving the core end to a hole, it will stick. You may have noticed that when you're heading nails or doing tools like this. And that little jiggling helps do that. But what really helps is not to drive when you have shadow. I'll heat up the whole thing this time. I'll bring it out, drive down with a few licks, then I'll chamfer the sides. Makes a cylinder. Chamfer heavily on these sides. And try and make them straight. And lightly right here. Now you do have eaves right here where I just struck that, but with a cylinder. And I'll pull it out. This next time I'll use a striker. And I'll, you see the foot's a lot bigger. I will direct my hit right in the center of that high spot, holding it level. This will prevent hollowing from setting it up with the heavy chamfers. Okay. Centerize over the, get your piece off, and move it back as it comes back. Okay, so you see what it's set up like? It does, of course, drag those down a little bit. So what we'll do is heat it back up, and I'll put it in, and we'll use a fuller, a swedge on top. So the smaller the swedge, the better, but it's got to fit within these parameters. This one doesn't. This was for the big one, but of course it doesn't do it for this one. But my big one's a 3-incher. I mean, no, it's a lot bigger. It was a 3-incher, but it's bigger than 3 inches. I modified it, so it's actually bigger than a basketball. Let me grab it like this, and I'm going to place it in. I brush, and don't let go of your brush. You need to be over there. you know, it's the full. It's 2 times before we had the full impression of this die or fuller. You can see it's just slightly cocked, and I don't know what you're trying to say.
It's high on that side. You get down there and look.
Ed said it's high on this side. You get down there and look. So if I go half on, half off.
Better.
Yeah. And you know, this could be finished if you want to keep, you know, for your big fuller for drawing out your punches and whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make out of this tool the smaller one. But you do both of them the same like this, and then you'll draw the smaller one. Ready? Okay, so I'm going to hit half flatter face blows on the end of the material. And that promotes the taper. The taper changes every hit, so you just have your striker hit right into that. See, that was not quite right into it. There we go. And I want to make it smaller than what I want to end up with. Yeah, that big fuller isn't as good as like if I would have had a 3-inch fuller, because it gave me a little bit of a hollow. I'm going to hit right here, just hold it straight, hit that high spot, and it'll bring, you know, where it curls at, it causes it to crown like this. So that brings that up more. It works to your advantage. Then I'll hit the pucker on the sides right here. You'll see it right there. And I'll put it back in, and then we'll use the top swedge. Yeah, we got a little bit of hollowing right here. Not so bad, none on the end. But a 3-inch full is going to be better than that big, as a basketball one. That's usually be my 3-incher. But we'll just use the 1.5-inch swedge, not fuller, and we'll set that down. So, control your billet. Don't let go of your brush. Brush it before you put it down. Get your tones set. Right over here a little bit. Yeah, you got to get down like this to see if it's level. It's pretty level, so. What I'm going to do now is it goes like this a little bit, and I'll go ahead and heat it and check that back. And we'll make it narrower because we've got quite a bit over here where we had that slight hollowing. And we'll just take it down smaller and do that again. But you know, with the arch here, you will have that. So always think about checking those sides back. Go ahead and brush that side so I reheated it. Go a little bit smaller. One more hit, and I'm going to hit the sides right here, and that helps it to contain it to a little over 2 inches, but also to bring those sides up a little bit. Okay, so you see it. Now I'll do the same thing, is I'll heat it back up, and we'll try and fill that whole thing in. We don't need the little bit on the side, but we'll be grinding the sides a little bit. That's real high right here, so just move your fuller over. And I guess it's now hit light in. Switch. No, switch. And there we go. Yeah, you'll grind this edge, this is fine here. You basically want this to fit when you're cheeking here, so it's not hitting over here. It's got to fit in this area, you know, so you can run your cheeks. You can see that it's slightly this away. You can either deal with that when you're forging, or I'm going to show you how to straighten that. I usually use a different type of wrench, but I didn't bring that here. I'll use a big crescent wrench. And so, seat it, and then I take my wrench, and your anvil has to be mounted to do this. I go just slightly past half. Past the center. Brush it. Make sure it's where you want it. It looks good. And then one hit. There it is. We can go ahead and fix that side right there. That slight pucker from doing that one more time. I'll go ahead and brush. Just hit this. Okay, and I'll put that back in the hole. Brush. And one finish light. That's it. You can sign if you want. I usually sign tools, well, I sign tools, but I don't usually sign a lot of my work, but you want to sign these, I do it now, at the end, and but yeah, you need foot for your, otherwise if you don't have enough foot, you're going to damage your mild steel anvil or unhardened, whatever you make them out of, unhardened striking anvil. Yeah.